Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, YouTube Livers. So happy to be here with you on this gorgeous 4th day of March to explore what it means to decide in advance how you want to show up. This topic comes up a lot and it means a lot to me because I think it's sort of like what setting intentions is really for, what it's all about. But it's going really deep, and I'm excited to explore this with you guys today and throughout March. We're going to be talking a lot about vision this month because it's the end of the first quarter. There's kind of like time for maybe touching in on our New Year's resolutions and goals and just thinking about how we incorporate reflection, revision of goals, and continuing to meet goals into our process. So the focus of today's YouTube Live is how you want to show up. And I actually want to start this with a short meditation. So if you can close your eyes, great. If you're driving or something crazy, please do not close your eyes. But wherever you are, see if you can let yourself kind of settle inward, even if it's just a little bit. And if you wear glasses, you can take them off. Like, let yourself be super, super relaxed. And soften into the question as a real question for yourself. Like, how do you want to show up today? What do you want to experience in yourself? What qualities do you want to call forth? I think it's really potent to soften around the question because this isn't really about being perfect. It's not about proving something. It's not about showing others something, although others will see how you show up. It's much more about you and your desire for your own personal experience of yourself. How do you want to show up today? Maybe it's that you want to feel a quality of ease, moment to moment. That you want to remember that you love and that you are loved. To feel worthy of money, of receiving, of contribution. Maybe you want to show up as confident, as clear, as focused. There's no right or wrong here. So trust whatever arrives, whatever shows itself to you, and just keep exploring the question, like softly asking yourself, how do I want to show up today? For most of us, it's the middle of the day, so it's a fun time to like just check in, recalibrate. Yeah, what wants to come through me today? For some of you, it may actually be that you want to come forward more. You want to allow yourself to be seen, to put yourself out there, to claim your ambition, to really move forward into the world from this confidence around your service. And for some of you, it might be like way more rest. Today, I want to show up with rest as the dominant quality of my whole being. And by the way, these are not mutually exclusive. So if anything that I'm offering up as a possibility feels resonant for you, you can claim it fully for yourself. This is an anytime, all the time practice. You're not trying to get anything done. Just taking a moment to connect with yourself and see what wants to be seen. And then when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room, come back to the screen. And I would love to invite any of you that are here live to just share some of the words that came through for you or the images that came through for you when you asked yourself that question. How do you want to experience yourself today? How do you want to show up today? What qualities do you want to bring forth today? And in your, as you take this practice into your day-to-day, hour to hour, breath to breath life, you can also incorporate writing, right? So that you, anytime you ask yourself this question, you can go and explore it in meditation. You can also explore it in writing. So what are the things that showed themselves to you? How do you want to show up? So I'm very interested to know what comes up for you. Full-bodied, with all of myself. Isn't that powerful? Isn't it amazing that we can do anything else? I think it's so entertaining. It's like, oh, how do we do that? That's a kind of superpower, to like not show up with all of ourselves, but I totally know what you mean. So, and I actually think it's similar, this idea of filling your aura, that feels similar. Enthusiastic, the dominion in love. So these are beautiful, beautiful words, feelings, qualities. And you can, by the way, just keep taking on anything that inspires you, anything that someone else says that you're like, oh yeah, that sounds juicy. Great. Claim that. And as we're here together, I'm going to guide you through a couple more processes, but I want you to just keep playing with that. Like, how do you want to show up just for the next 20 minutes that we're here together on YouTube Live? I had a teacher who, this was over a decade ago, took me to a Millionaire Mind workshop, which, side note, is a fascinating story anyway, because that was kind of one of the first seeds around money that was getting planted for me. But it was years later that I started actually doing the work. But I went to this workshop and he kind of prepared us in advance. He was like, you know, I've gone to this workshop twice. The first time I stood in the back and I thought it was kind of shitty. Like, I thought that the workshop was like, meh. It was like too silly, too many people like high-fiving. I wasn't into it. And then the second time that I went with my friend, and he was like, I want to, like, we're only going to go if we're going to play full out. So we're going to stand in the front row or sit in the front row. Anytime they ask us to high five, we're going all the way. We're going to be the most enthusiastic in the room. And so they went and had an incredible experience. And so that was a big, big piece for me around this question, because when we show up with our fullness, when we show up with our full yes or our full no, which is another form of yes, right? When we're a no to something, we have to allow ourselves to be a yes to our no, to let ourselves claim our no. So it's like, if you're here, like just get all the way in here, you know? And if for any reason it doesn't feel like, oh, I can't really get all the way in, then that's great too. Like, then you can let yourself get all the way out. The other piece of this that I'll share is a totally different teacher. This is Nancy Stark Smith, the queen of contact improvisation in my life, one of my most important mentors. And she always was talking about be 100% of wherever you are. So that, in other words, it's like, you don't always feel maybe like 100%, you know, if you're feeling under the weather or if you're just low energy or whatever. And she was constantly like, be 100% of that. So if you're feeling like 40% energy today, be 100% of 40%. Like, be all the way into whatever you are. And so I want to name that, because I think that playing full out doesn't look one way. Playing full out is you being full-bodied, full acceptance, enthusiastic about where you are. It is actually claiming your dominion of your own life, that you're a full yes to whatever it is that you're doing and however you're doing it. And when you can play that game, then you get much more powerful about actually changing your state also. So these are beautiful. Yes, 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 yes. Full yes. Showing up lovingly, passionately, powerfully. So juicy. Showing up with space in me to receive. This is actually really juicy. Marla Mattinson introduced me to these many questions about how open are you to receive? How much can you receive? She has like 6 different versions of like the receiving question. Sort of, it's like wide, deep, this direction, you know, all the different ways to ask yourself that question. It's so powerful to really tune in and asking yourself, like, yeah, how much do I want to get? Because this moment, here we are in real time, this moment could catalyze a change in your life that you point back to as a critical turning point. That opportunity is available to us in every moment. And certainly when I'm in the room, you can use me to facilitate that, to support you in that. So what would that be like for you? Like, what would be different if in this moment you decided, I want this to impact me in this way? I want to take, right? If you got a little bit more, and when I say a little bit, I do mean like a little bit, like just like a little more volume on the yes that you're bringing to showing up here. So I just want to read something to you about this. And maybe we'll send this out to you guys too. But so I'm working on a book, and this is like a little section of the book about how you want to show up. So I'm just going to read it to you. You can be certain of this. Your life is not happening to you. This practice is simple and rich. Let it penetrate. Your life is not happening to you. You are here in this lifetime to see your unconscious material and to transform it. That process can be painful and uncomfortable. And inside that inevitable truth, you get to decide how you want to experience yourself, how you want to experience your life. When there is delight, how do you want to show up? When there is discomfort, how do you want to show up? How do you want to show up in this moment, in this YouTube Live, in this day, in your relationship, in your career, in this life you're living? Connect to your heart in the center of your chest and feel the truth. There's no right or wrong answer to this. It's not about right or wrong. It's just about choice. You are choosing, whether you know it or not, every single moment. And the opportunity in this question is simply to bring your consciousness so that you're choosing consciously. How do you want to experience yourself? What parts of yourself do you want to see and know? What qualities do you want to share? What aspects of yourself do you want to amplify? Whatever it is that's coming to you, whatever image or sensation or language, trust that and offer it up as a prayer and ask for the support you need in living that choice. You don't have to do this on your own. And so it is. So I encourage you guys to take time this week to just make this question into a daily practice. And between now and the next time that we meet, next Wednesday at noon Pacific, that you are really like looking at it. Look, just coming back to the question over and over and over again. How do you want to show up? And you can choose this, you can play with the scale that feels really resonant for you in any given moment. So this moment, today, this week, this month, this life, you know, whatever, what a kind of zoom lens feels really good. So now let's go a little deeper. You guys down to go a little deeper? Hi, Kyla. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love it when you guys are here live. It feels good to be with you. So this is a good moment to have some paper also, because I'm going to ask you some questions you might want to return to. And of course, you can rewatch this replay, this live. The next question I want you to ask yourself is how money fits into this. How does money fit into how you show up? Another way of asking that question is, how does money fit into how you want to show up? So, for example, one of the biggest things that has changed for me in the last, let's say 4 years since starting my business, is that I choose to show up around money with love and faith and enthusiasm and belief in myself. And in the beginning, that was sort of a like tongue twister almost. It was like, I knew I wanted that, but I didn't necessarily know how to do that. And I was constantly looking at, you know, my bank account or my bills or my home or whatever, and having the reflection that was like, wait, maybe I can't do it that way. So there was some cognitive dissonance when I visioned how I wanted to show up and then compared it to how I was actually living. And that's normal. It's part of what this any kind of transformational work is about, but particularly around money. You can't really do it any other way. You have to see yourself in a future where you have a very different relationship to money, and then begin to live that way. So it's slightly different exercise, but very compatible, very complementary, and very amplifying to connect with your future self. So when you think about money, you can think about your ideal relationship with money. And that means how you feel when you spend it, how you feel when you make it, how you feel when the money comes into your bank account, how you feel when you pay your credit card bill, how you feel when you pay your taxes. Any of you that are working on building 7-figure businesses, you are also working on building 6-figure tax bills. Not everybody thinks about that. That's like, it's like, oh yeah, 7-figure business, yeah. But then, like, you know, potentially, if you're claiming 7-figure revenue, most of you, that's a separate thing. But like, if you claim 7-figure revenue, you're paying $250,000 minimum in taxes. If you make 7 figures in your business, probably you got a lot of expenses, so you're not necessarily claiming all of that. But you're likely to have a 6-figure tax bill. It's a huge thing to celebrate. It's a huge thing to celebrate, but it's like, it takes you out of the dream, right? The fantasy, when you start to think about those things. It's part of why I like thinking about taxes. We're in tax season, right? So it's like, use that to ground your vision around money. So how does it feel in your vision when you think about this future version of yourself who has the relationship to money that you want? How do they feel when they pay their taxes, when they see their tax bill come in? How do you want to show up? It's the same question, just in the future. How do you want to show up around those financial circumstances? And whatever it is that you see there, you get to bring that into your body now. Right? So one of the things that people tell me, I think this is actually the most common thing that I hear from people around money, and this is not just my clients, this is just human beings, is that they don't want to worry about money. And so typically whatever they want, anybody recognize that? Raise your hand if you're like, yeah, I would love to not worry about money. That is, it's like, that's the relief that most people are searching for. And so generally speaking, whatever it is that people want around money, what's underneath that is just to not worry. So see that future version of yourself who doesn't worry about money, and bring that into your now. That doesn't mean that you close your eyes. This is the opposite of what I'm talking about, okay? This is not worrying. This is not worrying, la, 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 right? That's not it. Not worrying means that your eyes are open. You're seeing the truth of everything that's in front of you. You're hearing, you're experiencing, and you're not worrying. So your bank account can change. It will change, right? Nobody's bank account stays exactly the same. Money's meant to move. So how do you want to feel? How do you want to show up? How do you want to behave? How do you want to think about yourself and the world as your money moves? And you can use this future self visioning tool to help you connect with a more expansive vision. And then again, bring that back in. So this is something to write down, right? Like, what are the qualities that you want to bring specifically to your relationship to money? This is taking that, how do you want to show up, to the next level. All right, you guys ready for the next thing? I want to give you 2 more steps. Give me thumbs up. Let me know what's landing. I want to know what you're experiencing. So any questions that are coming up, you can share those too. This should feel really good, by the way. Like, the more conscious you get, the more power you're flowing through your body, and it should feel good. It might feel unfamiliar. It might feel like kind of like buzzy. There might be a lot of energy, but ultimately it should feel really good. Also, because I'm not asking you to do anything too external yet, right? We're just working with the mind. So all of this should just like be activating and catalyzing the expansive part of you that wants to be living and breathing in your body every day. I love the conversation that's happening. Keep bringing that in. It's very helpful for me. So the next step is to powerfully, lovingly, curiously anticipate where this might challenge you, like where on any of the things that you've written down about how you want to show up at any time frame. Kind of like that. We're like making a coordinate plane version, right? Like this is how you want to show up, and this is the time frame that you want to show up in. Whatever it is that you've created in that spectrum, where will it be challenging for you? Where could it be challenging for you? Where has it been challenging in the past? And you're asking this question from a very expansive place, right? This is a question that I asked as a math teacher regularly. It wasn't that I wanted my students to be failing. It was like I wanted to anticipate where are they going to be, where is this going to be difficult for them, so that I can set them up in advance to be more successful and set myself up to be, right? Because if I went into my classroom thinking this lesson is going to go perfectly, then as soon as something thwarted that, I was distracted and unable to pay attention to what was happening. There were often things that I hadn't prepared for, life. But the more I did the practice of anticipation, two things happened. One is that I had actually come up with a plan for a lot of the challenges that emerged. But I was also just already a yes to those potential unexpected challenges. I expected the unexpected. So this is one of the most powerful things that I practice and teach now, is to simply do the anticipation, like take the time to explore, like, yeah, where could this be hard for me? Where might it be hard for me to not worry about money? And for most of us, the answer to that question is pretty simple. It's like, well, when I feel like I can't have everything that I want, or I don't have as much money as I need to in order to cover my bill, whatever. So then you get to decide, okay, so, and this is the final step. When you find something that you think is going to challenge you, then decide in advance, pre-plan how you will show up. This is like how you will show up AP course, or like going into the super advanced. It's not just intention setting. This is actually, the process that I'm guiding you through is actually the process that you need to go through in order to create the intention that you set. My experience is that intention setting goes a long way, actually. It's not like nothing, but it's so easy to forget your intentions. It's so easy to vision and then get challenged and like lose it. So to go through the process of really visioning, and then I'm taking you to like visioning specifically about money. Anticipate where you're going to struggle, where you might be challenged, where you might be tempted to not show up in the way that you just visioned. And then decide in advance what you're going to do when that happens. So let's just say for all of us, we can all decide in advance how we want to handle it when our bank account dips below whatever minimum balance we want it to be. How are we going to feel? How are we going to think? And how are we going to act? Decide right now how you want to handle that moment, because that moment will happen, right? I just had a meeting with my accountant this morning. We set new minimum baselines for all my accounts. That doesn't guarantee that they'll never dip below that. It means that when they dip below that, I'm going to react. I'm going to respond. I'm going to show up to resolve that, to bring that minimum balance back up to where it wants to be. So we're not aiming for ever something static. We are not static. We are so very alive, and life is constantly in motion, constantly breathing, growing, evolving, changing. So notice if any of your visioning, if any of your intentions around how you want to show up have like an underbelly of like, and it'll never change ever. Because everything fucking changes, guys. You know that as well as I do. All right, let me just see. Yeah, Kyla, yeah. I love this. Oh, Christina, hello. Yes, yes, yes. These future selves should feel so yummy. And I love what Dorta is bringing in, because it's like you want to feel like there is a challenge to jump. Like it feel a little edgy when you really go into it. Yep. Kyla is talking about something that's very important, that's very common among people, to really, really believe in your why around wanting money. And my concrete next step for you, Kyla, is just to do that visionary budget exercise. And if you've got a couple videos about it, you can email my team, info@JessieJohnsonCoaching, ask them for it. But to actually let yourself articulate what you want to spend money on. You want to spend money on different things. There's no right or wrong here. You might want to spend $10,000 a month. You might want to spend $10 million a month. You might want to spend $1,000 a month. I don't care. But the point is to catalyze you making it concrete. So it's not just a big abstract like, ooh, I want to make money. It's like, no, I want to spend money actually on these things. And in order to do that, I need to bring in the money to make that possible. How does that work? And then Kyla, like this vision of being the first person in your family to make 6 and then 7 figures, to really get to know that version of yourself, get to know her. How does she show up in the world? What about that do you love? What about that is different from how you're showing up now? What would it look like for you to start showing up that way today? So you're not waiting for the money to show up differently. You're actually showing up differently in order to create the money. And part of what I propose is that that person, that version of you, feels differently about money. She thinks differently about money. She makes decisions differently about money. And I can tell you're zeroing in on that. Keep going with that. And by the way, Kyla, you should come to LA for the retreat in March. I know it's in like 2 weeks, but you should come. Yes, Michelle, you're absolutely right. When you connect with your future self and do this practice of deciding in advance how you want to show up, it will make it easier to, like, when the money comes in, you'll be like, oh yeah, of course, because that you've been showing up as the one who receives that kind of money for a while. It's a little like there's this performance practice that I love called inviting being seen. They say in most spaces that you can't practice performance without performing. You just have to perform. And so whether it's in music or theater or dance, there's often like a challenge in shifting from the rehearsal process to the performance process. And so if you only perform once, it's sort of tricky because like you may have rehearsed 100 times, but if you don't have an audience there, it's hard to make that transition. Same thing in what we're talking about. The practice of inviting being seen is a rehearsal practice, you could say, where you're imagining that there's an audience there and you're behaving as if there's an audience there and you're welcoming that experience. I teach this in a lot of contexts. So you guys may have heard me talk about it before. When I started practicing that and then an audience came in the room, it just wasn't that different. I had already been showing up as the one who wanted to be seen, in whether there were people there or not. And so it's a little hack. This is like a life hack. So beautiful, beautiful reflections here. Yes, experiencing confusion and fog is a challenge in showing up the way I vision. Staying clear on that action plan and implementing it right away supports. Coming back to the practice is part of it. Having the vision right in front of you is another part of it. So that's why it's so beautiful to change your environment to reflect the direction that you're going. And when you are in a growth period where you haven't yet on the outside manifested the thing that's happening inside, the thing that you're clarifying your vision around, dreaming, calling into reality, just a vision board will help, or like some key mantras that you want to like remind yourself of day in, day out. You can talk to your housemates, your partners, your families, your friends. Like, this is how I want to show up. If you ever see me not showing up this way, I welcome you to kind of like raise a hand and flag me. Like, wake up. Yes, 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 yes. Perfect. Oh, you guys are so good. So we're going to close here shortly. I'm going to do a final little closing meditation with you guys. And then we're going to keep diving in. We're just going to keep going deeper and deeper over the next few, years. So keep coming every Wednesday at noon Pacific. Spread the word. Anyone that you think would benefit from these videos, I would love to help more people. And if there's anything that I can do to help you guys go deeper, then just email me directly, email my team, let us know how we can help. So let's just close out for a second with another brief meditation. Close your eyes if you can, go inward. And just feel the expansiveness that you have created just by being here in 20 minutes or less. You have catalyzed an entirely different path. You've literally like bushwhacked a path in your mind. See that path before you. See yourself putting one foot in front of the other as you show up in exactly the way you choose to, exactly the way you vision, exactly the way you want to. Not because it's right, just because it's what you want. Not because it's better, just because it's what you desire. With ease, with grace, and with literally infinite blessings from me, from everyone on this call, from all forms of divinity, every angel, spirit, and mentor. You are blessed. Whether you know it or not, people are wishing you well. You have well-wishers coming from all directions. And I can't wait to see you again next week. I'm loving you all. Enjoy the rest of your week.